Hi everyone, I'm Richard. Welcome to Burning Spears. Today I'm cooking a Thor's hammer, aka beef shank, beef shin. It's the same meat used in ossobuco, just sliced across the bone. Quite a lot of internet footage of this particular cook, and I found myself getting a little bit confused when I did my research, typically because there's so many theories and way things are done that I decided to go back to basics. The basics that always work for me, and the results are always really good. So enough about that. I'll zoom in and then we'll talk about the meat a little bit more. So it's obviously called Thor's hammer because that's the hammer. For me, like a tomahawk, it's just a bit of show. I would prefer to have all the meat on that because then I have more meat to eat. Quite simple. This meat does contain a hell of a lot of collagen, not a vast amount of fat, so you need to make sure that you've got enough time and temperature to break down that collagen to make it unctuous. Sometimes it might need a little bit of help to to be moist because of the lack of fat. However, I think I'm going to be okay with this one. Now, some guys remove all of the silver skin, which and then they tie it to keep it together because the muscles are then loose. They're haven't got this little membrane bag keeping them in. I'm going to pretty much follow suit. What I'm basically going to do is to take off the layer of thick membrane. That's that stuff, the silver skin. You can see it there. That's really not good. It doesn't really break down that well. Then I'm going to leave as much of the thinner membrane on there. I'm not even going to take this silver skin off that you can see there because it should work out all right based on the time and attention that this is going to receive. So I'll break that off. I'll cut that off. So you see that's off. Cut along the bone there. Okay, so today I'm going to use olive oil as a binder. Nice good quality olive oil. Then typically I'm going to season just with black pepper, freshly ground as always, and diamond crystal kosher salt, as I would do a Texas style brisket, for instance, or a Texas style rib of beef. I'm going to treat it the same way pretty much. Now, olive oil will work fine because I'm going to be cooking this low and slow for pretty much all of the cook. And the marrow in this will loosen up and turn into oil, and there might be a little bit of solid left. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that out once I've cooked and inject it into the meat. I'll show you that process later. Okay, so it's my first afternoon off in a while, so I can shoot in some daylight. This is going to be probably about a 10-hour cook, so stick around to see the end result. It'll be worth it. There's going to be quite a number of slightly different stages on this low and slow cook, like the injection and that sort of thing. I want this to relax and not tense up. On the videos that I saw where all of the silver skin was stripped off and they tied and they left it like that, or even tied it, it would sag on the cook and sort of pull down and fatten out. And when it was pulled, yes, the bone came out clean, but it looked fairly dry. Despite all the taste and this is great, it did look fairly dry. So I want this to relax as much as possible during the first part of the cook, low and slow, 125 degrees Celsius, 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Because of the height of this and the Kamado Joe, I noticed that the bone would stick in the top hole of the vent. So I'm going to adapt the grill setup to something I haven't had to use before. Luckily, the Kamado Joe with its divide and conquer system helps with that. Of course, if you're doing this in the oven and you had it sideways, lying down in a baking tray, you wouldn't have that problem. But certainly in this space, I will, if you had a big Joe or a green egg XXL, I think it is, you wouldn't have a problem either. That would sit and the dome would be up, nice and up here. So a few differences that I'm going to use as opposed to my usual low and slow cooks. And I can't wait to check this out. So I'll do a video on the cook of this, and then I'm going to do a video tomorrow, because this is a 10-hour cook. I'm going to do a separate video on the first Birria tacos that I'm ever going to make. So I can't wait. My mouth's already watering at the thought of using this meat in a taco with the stock and the juice and the oil, with cheese and jalapenos in it. It's going to be fantastic. So keep an eye out for that video. So this, you can do this, and this can sit in your fridge overnight, etc, etc. I'm going to let this sit aside. I'm going to get the fire cook going. I'm actually going to cook my dinner first, my chicken. I'll cook that first, get the temperature back down. I've got time. I've got 10 hours. So overnight, I don't want to be waking up, put this in at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then set my alarm for 2. I don't want to be doing that. I want to be awake enough to speak clearly and look half decent on camera, but to be able to finish off the cook properly. And I want it to be early enough, but still early enough where I can do all the changes. So excuse the lighting later on with some of the changes. Currently in the UK at the moment it gets dark at 4 in the afternoon. So the next bits will be under light. But I will stay hydrated, don't you worry. Okay, and then what do we do about this bone? While the bone adds some flavor in the cook, it's got marrow in there which is going to break down and be used deliciously into the meat, and then later on into the gravy, into the sort of stocky gravy type sauce that I'm going to generate for the tacos. You need to protect this because it's going to look all ugly after taking so much smoke for 10 hours. It's not going to look too attractive. I'm not too bothered, but everyone tin foils it, so I'll do the same. There we have it. Almost looks like a meaty bottle of booze. Okay, so a bit about the grill setup. Because like I explained, the height, I'm going to have to make some slight differences. So full basket of premium charcoal, as full as I can get up to the lower setting of the lower part of the divide and conquer rack system. I've got 4 whiskey oak barrel bits in here, some at the bottom, different sides, mix it all up to ensure a nice even distribution of smoke. So then normally I have the heat deflectors up high, but they're really supposed to go down in here. So that indirect heat protects the meat and makes it cook better, because this deflects the heat, and the heat has to come into the air as opposed to directly radiating onto the meat. Okay, then I'm going to put my drip pan in, but I will use this as a water bath to again keep as much moisture around that meat to ensure the best, most moist result. Then I'm going to put the X ring or the accessory ring in. Normally these would go up here, standard, but on the divide and conquer they can go lower. And I'm going to be putting them in low like this, so that I have the gap between the deflectors and the stuff being cooked, the grill level. So you can see that gap, so we'll go in like that and smoke it low and slow. Okay, I've got a little bit of an issue that I noticed, and that is that this was cut a bit deep, so the marrow is showing there. So normally the marrow isn't showing, so I'm going to have to put an aluminium can in there just to contain all those juices and fats that are going to render off, which I need. Now, because I cooled this, I used it before, there's a lot of smoke. It is clean smoke, but there's a lot of smoke registering. So Inchi's going to go at 125 degrees C. Okay, it's 2 hours in. Look at that, just beautiful. There's a nice amount of liquid in the bottom, which shows that I have caught a lot of moisture that I'll use later on. A little bit of fat and oil on it, which is great news. All of the flavor, and it hasn't shrunk too much, but it is early days. I will leave it alone for another hour. I'm not worried about temperature or spritzing at all at the moment. So yeah, come back in an hour and see how it looks. Okay, I checked in at 3 hours. It was 59 degrees. Let's have a look now. Tough as all hell. 62 degrees. That's 4 hours in. And it hasn't shrunk too much, so I'm going to wait until I get to above 65 certainly. The color's nearly there, but I need to give it a bit longer. And then I'll wrap. Okay, we're 5 hours into the cook. It's 12 o'clock at night. I'm chasing 65 degrees because I'm happy with the color, but I think we've hit a stall a while ago, and I'm nearly there, but it's definitely stalled. I'll give it a bit longer, and then I'll wrap it anyway, even during the stall. Okay, so 5.5 hours, 66, right, ready. Okay, so this might look a little bit sci-fi with all the silver and tinfoil going on, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it now, but before I do that, I want to inject these juices that are in here back into the meat, because as it giveth, we need to support it and give it the best chance of lots of flavor and moisture being in the final product. So normally with another cut of meat there would be a lot of liquid because there would be a lot of fat, but there is some nice fat on here, in here, I mean. Okay, I've got 4 layers of tin foil. Going to keep in all the juice possible. As you can see, there's some spilled out, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, so you always want to do a nice tight wrap. This is going to go back in until it reaches an internal of 95 Celsius or 203 Fahrenheit, which should be at about 5 in the morning. So I'll be setting my alarm clock for that time. Okay, I'll be putting my meter probe into it, just so that if I wake up, not in the middle of the night anymore because it is the middle of the night, but in case I wake up, I can look on my phone and see where we are. I'll set my alarm for a little bit before 5. There we go. So in she goes, same temperature, 125 Celsius, 250 Fahrenheit. And while I sleep, I hope the magic carries on. Right, finally the cook is over. Over 10 hours because the temperature dipped a little bit on me in the middle of the night. So I didn't get an extreme amount of sleep last night, but it's ready. I got it to 95 degrees Celsius, about 203 Fahrenheit. It was probe tender. When I put my thermometer in, it was just super soft. So it was ready, and I've had it resting for about 3 hours now, because of course I had to get up and do all my makeup for this session, you know. Looking this good doesn't come naturally. So here it is. I'm going to reveal it, taste it, and I can't wait to see what the result is. Come and look, come closer. This is gorgeous. That's what you want to see. That quite literally just fell off the bone. Okay, that marrow's come out, and that will have flavored all the juices. So that's just going to be perfect. A little bit left in there. Clean as a whistle. About one of the best videos I saw is Mad Scientist Barbecue. He got a really tender, juicy looking Thor's hammer or beef shank, whatever you want to call it, and I have exceeded that. Look at this, just glistening, smoke ring on there. This is just so soft. Okay guys, I'm so happy with that cook. It really worked out well. Now what you can do with this is treat it like pulled beef, of course, like a pulled pork in a barbecue roll. You can make a soup with it that you don't have to cook for hours. You can make a pasta with it. I'm going to be making Birria-style tacos with this baby, so keep an eye out for that video. I might combine 2 videos. We'll see how it goes, but look at how gorgeous this cooks. And it wasn't expensive. It was 3.7 kilos in weight at £6.57 a kilo, and well worth it, man. Way cheaper than brisket, cheaper than beef rib, and it's all of that collagen is broken down. It's so soft and unctuous now. You can see all of that connective tissue all broken down. So really happy with this cook. Really worked out well, and I hope you enjoyed it. So I'm going to wake up, wait for beer o'clock, and then I'm going to make these tacos. I hate drinking coffee on video. One more taste. I might have some eggs in this for breakfast today. I can't believe it. It's very good. So I suppose I should probably just cover my decisions on the way to cook it this way. Low and slow, because that's what you do with tough meats. You get great smoke on there. There's oak smoke, and the time and the temperature break that collagen down so that it's edible and it's soft. I treated it super gently to keep as much moisture in there. As you notice, it didn't shrink on the bone too much or anything like that. And I wrapped it early. And I wrapped it in tin foil and not butcher's paper. Butcher's paper, I didn't want to leach a lot of the oil and the fats out, because I need as much of that as I can get, because there's not a huge amount of fat in a Thor's hammer, a beef shank. So I needed all of that for the birria tacos, or just in general. And I also thought that, like pulled pork, the tin foil would sort of get that steam and that concentration of heat held in there, because the steam's got nowhere to go. So it worked. It worked very, very well. I'm very proud of the results on this. And it just goes to show, it's my first time cooking it. You don't need to be scared if you know the basics and you use a little bit of intuition. You can pivot if you need to. But the low and slow method that I use, it's very simple and it gives results every time. So I hope some of you found this entertaining, and I hope some of you found it very useful, and please try this. It's amazing. That's it.